Time sampling refers to a variety of methods for observing and recording behavior during intervals or at specific moments in time. Three forms of time sampling often used by behavior analysts are whole interval recording, partial interval recording, and momentary time sampling. Whole interval recording is more often used for high-rate behaviors. This type of recording often tends to underestimate. With whole interval recording, the observation period is divided into a series of brief time intervals. At the end of each interval, the observer records whether the behavior occurred for the entire interval. So, for the entire interval to be marked as a yes, the behavior must have occurred throughout the whole time. In this next clip, our target behavior will be the hand on the dog. So, if the hand is on the dog for the entire interval, mark it as a yes. Your table should look something like this. The behavior occurred for only 2 entire intervals. In partial interval recording, you record if the behavior occurs at any time during the interval. This type of recording tends to overestimate the behavior. Partial interval recording is divided into intervals, and then it is recorded whether or not the behavior occurred at all during the interval. Now let's collect data for the same behavior as before, hand-on-dog behavior, using partial interval recording. Your data should look something like this. The behavior occurred at least once during all of the intervals. According to Cooper, Heron, and Heward, partial interval data and whole interval data are most often reported as a percentage of total intervals in which momentary time sampling is recorded if the behavior is occurring at the end of the interval when the timer or metronome goes off. So, the interval is recorded as a yes if the behavior is occurring at the end of the interval. In this clip, let's look at the same behavior as the previous two. Remember, you record it as a yes if it is occurring when the timer goes off or at the end of the interval. Your data should look something like this. In other words, the behavior was occurring the end of 4 out of 6 intervals. We reviewed 3 methods of time sampling today. These were partial interval recording, whole interval recording, and momentary time sampling. When an observer is recording using whole interval recording, you mark whether the behavior occurred for the entire interval. During partial interval recording, you record whether or not the behavior occurred at all during the interval. When using momentary time sampling, you record whether or not the behavior is occurring at the end of the interval.